What's up YouTube, MagentaGadget here, and I'm doing a deck profile like I promised last week. I didn't actually record it that night, but this is a deck profile of one of the top 32 decks from Toronto. Obviously I don't have the real person in front of me, but I have his deck laid out on Dual Network. So what I want to go over is the deck, what's good about it, and why it works and why it's top 32, because it's pretty different. And the deck is Nordics. The Nordic beasts have always been real good monsters. Their ability to synchro is crazy. A 4-star tuner that you can special summon like Cyber Dragon, a monster that can summon them from your deck and be summoned from your deck by Hamster, and token generation. Everybody knows how important tokens are in this game. Dandelion is just incredible, and this is a little more specific, but this also makes more easy synchros because a little known fact that the tokens are 3-star monsters. So we'll go through the deck real quick and then we'll talk a little bit more about it. First up is 3 gold facts, which is the horse, Cyber Dragon. If your opponent controls a synchro monster and you control no monsters, you can special summon it just like Cyber Dragon. It's kind of specific, but synchros are pretty easy to come by in this game. Next up we have unpronounceable Black Goat of the Nordic Beasts, and he is pretty much the heart and soul of the Nordic deck. When a monster you control is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon it from your hand, and once per turn when it's changed from defense mode to face up attack mode, well, that be face down or face up defense, you can special summon a Nordic Beast monster from your deck except for another copy of him, because that would just be stupid. You can bring out this thing and make an Xyz monster or go for tokens, or you can bring out Goldfax and go into Black Rose or any 7-star Ancient Sacred Wyvern, because these are all light monsters. Or this is a light monster, these guys are Earths. And then you got one unpronounceable White Goat of the Nordic Beasts, and he's, like I said, token generation, and that's really important. Next up we have Reborn Tengu. He's a beast warrior, he goes in the theme, and he's Reborn Tengu, so if you're trying to synchro summon, he's the man. If you're trying to do anything in this game, Reborn Tengu's kind of your man. They got 2 Mega Hamsters. Bring out this guy face down defense mode, so you flip him to attack mode on your turn, and win from there. You bring out another copy of this guy, or there's 1 copy of Raikou in the deck for spot destruction, good removal, and another target if you're running your deck like crazy with these things. You always have Raikou to fall back on. Also deck plays Pot Avarice, which we'll get to in a little bit. 3 tour guides. This was in and Sangan, because that goes hand in hand. I really don't see any reason to play tour guide without Sangan. Xyz monsters, Levier is so strong, and if you actually succeed in dropping Thor, which this deck does extra deck, you remove from play your tuners. And banishing for Luster Soldier is another huge portion. So you can Levier anything, or you can just tour guide for Sangan for Hamster for this thing, and suddenly you have a live Pot of Avarice. There's lots of different plays you can make with tour guide. Obviously it's not the most necessary thing, but it's one of the reasons that this deck made top 32 is because of the sheer power of tour guide and Tengu, of course. Everybody kind of knows what the big plays with tour guide are, but it's kind of important to note every now and then that the tour guide is a major portion of this game, simply because her effect is so strong. That's unparalleled access to your deck, especially through Sangan. It's great, but that's not why we're doing this deck profile. I'm not here to tell you about tour guide. You already knew about tour guide. Next up we have Grand Mole. He's so good. He's always been so good. It's one of the most annoying cards ever. I don't think I've ever seen people get so upset at any card more often than I see them get upset about Grand Mole. Just like, I can't believe you spun away my Scrap Dragon, my Stardust Dragon, whatever. It's so easy with Grand Mole. We have Effect Veiler. it's an additional light monster, and it's a hand trap, so it's kind of necessary in today's game to have your effect veiler at least one. I usually say two, but this was one in the deck that topped. So I mean, obviously it worked for him. Gores, keep yourself alive in long game situations and when they're trying to OTK you. Blackluster Soldier because he's not banned, and because this is a light, the Gold Hex is a light. Raikou and Veiler are lights, and Sangan and Tour Guide and Gores are all darks. And, I mean, you don't have to use them, but like when you draw them, you usually have the equipment in your graveyard to just drop him. 2-Potted Dualities, digs through your deck real nice, digs you into Hamster. You can Duality for Hamster and set Hamster because that's not a special summon right away. You can add this to your hand and set a monster so that it can get destroyed in battle. Book of Moon, Pot of Avarice. This deck goes through itself very quickly. 2 Space Typhoons and Heavy so that you can get your combos off. Reborn, Dark Hole, Mind Control. You have several 4-star tuners. Effect Veiler is also a tuner, and you have the ability to Xyz like crazy because there's lots of 3s and 4s in this deck. So those are all kind of standard. I mean, everybody, Reborn, Dark Hole, Heavy. I don't need to tell you guys why to play those cards. Then the 3 Solemns, Solemn Judgment and 2 Warnings, to prevent monsters from appearing on the board in front of you. You got to keep rolling. Torrential Tribute and Mirror Force, the standard staple cards, if you will. Torrential is available to Sangan all the time, and Mirror Force some people are playing it, some people aren't playing it, but it obviously worked for this guy, and it's a strong pick in a deck like this. You can repel an attack at will. Even if you don't plus off it, you just 1-for-1 with it, and that's fine. Trapjaw Shoot, very necessary card. Get your opponent's options out of the way and know what their hand is. Then we got Gleipnir, the Fetters of Fenrir. But it's a Nordic Rhoda. It's a trap card that adds a Nordic monster from your deck to your hand. It's a really, really good card, especially because it can add this. And since it's a trap, you can respond to an attack. Say first turn you summon Tour Guide and drop Sangan out of your deck and set this thing face down. You're pretty happy. That's a really good setup. Tour Guide gets bowled over, or they attack Tour Guide and you respond with this to search for your unpronounceable black goat of the Nordic beast. Tour Guide dies and this special summons in defense mode. He switches to attack mode, brings out Goldfax, Synchro for Black Rose, destroy your Sangan alongside your opponent's field. Whatever, the plays are huge. Also, if you have this face down and they Space Typhoon it, that's a pretty fun plus. If you have it face down and you draw Mind Control, your opponent has a monster on the field, you could just search for the tuner and go for it. Or search for this thing in Xyz, whatever you need. This is a really good card, and you play 3 of them because Pot of Avarice restores your monsters, and all of your monsters are really good. So if you get multiple searches off of this, that's very ideal, and that puts you in a great spot for the rest of the game. Then we're going to run through the extra deck real quick here. Use this picture over here, not the one on the bottom, because I can't fit everything. Maybe I can fit everything. We got Levier and Leviathan Dragon. Those are obviously for Tour Guide. This too, I don't know if he actually dropped this in the tournament or not, but this is really cool. Terabyte. It's 3 level 3 monsters that you take control of a 4 lore monster your opponent controls, and you brain control it, basically. Roach and Utopia. I think Roach was in there. I might have added that myself. I can't remember. No, I think he played that because he's got several 4-stars. But Utopia is necessary, and Roach is just powerful, preventing your opponent's big plays. All that. Brionic is not as easy to get out in this deck, but Raikou and Goldfax make it. Or see, that is a hard one to get out in this deck. I haven't summoned Brionic a lot with this. Although you have Reborn, Mind Control, Veiler, everything. You don't need an excuse to play Brionic. He's obviously the clutch 6-star. Sacred Wyvern, like I said before, it's a 7-star, easy to do with this deck. Black Rose and Scrap Archfiend. Scrap Archfiend is just an additional 7 because it's really easy to do 7s, and he's kind of a beast. Stardust, Colossal, Scrap Dragon for 8s. This deck does 8s pretty quickly. Goldfax and Tengu, Mind Control, etc. you can make so many quick plays, multiple synchros. Trishula, you need Trishula. There's no excuse not to play her. It's strong and easy to summon, especially with this guy generating 3-star tokens. Catastor, just good 5-star. And Thor. He played Thor, and I thought that was really interesting, really good. This thing generates 2 tokens. Normal summon this thing, that's 10 stars, and you summon Thor. It's a really big, strong monster. Burns your opponent. It's not always your ideal play, obviously. It's not the best synchro in the game. It's not immune to anything, but it's a good card. So, that is the overview of the deck. I didn't put down the side deck. I could probably get something up about that later, but this video is already stretching on to be really long. So I want you guys to post below what you think about this Nordic deck. Tell me what you think. Anything you would have done differently. What you like, what you don't like. You know, everything. So let me know, and watch tomorrow for something about Dark Worlds, because tomorrow is going to be Dark World Day as the deck comes out. So we'll see you tomorrow, and check out this Nordic deck. Peace out, YouTube.